All right, everybody, welcome back to Sharp Edge News TV. My name is Ola. I'm coming to you live from my Empire Pro Studios. With me on the show tonight, as always, we have the Dapa High Chief. Okay, let me start all over. We do have the editor in chief and the publisher of SharpEdgeNews.com, High Chief Oladimeji Abitogun, my personal person. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Ola. Good to be back. And let me again express our worthy appreciation to the fans and viewers out there that give us support concerning what we do. We thank you all. Good to be back. That said, let's roll.
Awesome. Great. All right. So without any further ado, we're just going to jump right in. As you know, we have very small space of time here to cover some of this stuff. Do you have any special report for us today from SharpEdgeNews.com?
Yes, indeed. And is the personal story, the triumph, joy, challenges of people who face the adversity of disability and the expectation of the society and what society can do to give all the encouragement. And let me zero in on a personal experience. Few years back, I was spending time in Nigeria, and there was this young man I had drawn into my circle that used to visit with me. If I needed to go somewhere, I paid him to drive me because of my limited vision. Because as somebody who is badly challenged visually, if I drive, there are two options that could arise from that. It's either I kill somebody or I get killed, and both could as well happen. So the choice is to adhere strictly to instructions from my ophthalmologist, that is my eye surgeon, and other medical experts. I stay away completely from driving. And Ola, you also had experiences with me in the past concerning driving. So that is, I mean, that's a matter for another day.
Mm-hmm.
But as this guy came so close, he had formed very sinister and dark views about my disability. Because in spite of all protestations, remember, a Nigerian monarch, successfully convinced me after 4 years of a plea that I should join the royal council in my vast kingdom. So I was serving on that council, and I was really aware of my limitations, and that formed a major basis for the protestations that I did not want to serve. Yes, I'm comfortable in my skin, even when people try to make mockery of things that I go through. That doesn't bother me. So, but how about the twisted view and sense of appreciation of people who try to play that kind of game? So I was not going to come on that council. But when this guy, he knows himself, even as I'm talking, as he came so close to me, the story he was always spreading back around town was, that guy, he was always trying to, to discuss me in the light of my disability. And it did not bother me. But there was a time all this came to my attention, and I called him, cautioned him. Now, I found out that that is not unique to me. That there are people who love to view individuals with challenges, with disabilities. They love to view them and relate to them through such prism, through such a limited lens, narrow lens. They do not think of other capabilities about the life of the average individual who has these adversities or adversity to cope with. And I have seen I thank God for the people in my extended family,
Mm-hmm.
for good brothers, sisters, cousins, nephews, what have you. They have been a source of support, pillar of support for me
Mm.
in many ways, in different ways. And it's so easy for me to um, navigate the complexities of being, of being disabled. But
Mm.
being disabled is relative. It doesn't mean that you are completely um, grounded now. It
Right.
only means that you can exploit and explore other open options and channels. And so that will take us to the way people like Donald Trump um, have always treated individuals or
Mm.
family members that have one adversity or the other to cope with. You have had what Fred Trump revealed in his new book, All in the Family. The title of that book is All in the Family.
Oh wow.
How one of his children um, happens to be wheelchair bound, and how,
Mm.
up to date, Donald Trump has never deemed it fit to visit with that family. And when you see the way Donald Trump magnifies and tries to objectify the difficult situations that attend people's uh, disabilities, I mean, things that persons with disabilities have to deal with, whether
Mm.
he's talking to a journalist, whether he is talking to all kinds of individuals, even veterans that have very bad injuries, wounds from being in the theater of war. And what he said at a point about people, individuals resting peacefully uh, at the memorial sites all over the US, particularly Arlington, or the one that happened in Europe, where he looked at people who had to lay their lives down for their loved ones, for their country, as
Mm.
losers and suckers. That would readily drive home the message, the report that I'm conveying to you out there tonight. Never do that to anybody, because there is always a split second between being strong and becoming so weak. There
Mm.
is always a fleeting breath between being alive and being down there in the grave.
Mm.
If all these things come your way, how do you deal with it? And if you see people struggling to cope with all these situations,
Mm.
what would you do? How do you handle the situation? People like this need empathy, but not that you should feel sorry all day for them. Whatever you can do in the circumstances, do not do anything to make them feel unworthy. Do not do anything to make them feel like, oh, life. You even see spouses walking away from people they once loved just
Mm.
because of their disability. When they go out there, the narrative they say they give is different from what actually um, drove them away, or what is actually driving them away from that relationship which they once loved.
Mm.
This has happened to so many of us. And how do we navigate all this? How do we cope? How do we push through? Is to maintain a strong presence of mind. Spirituality must be very deep and unshaken, and the strength of convictions on who you are and where you're going. For example, I have always loved the worthy words of the singer from America um, that says that a man is beginning to lose the use of his eyes, or lose his sight.
Mm-hmm.
Does not mean that he lacks vision. You
Mm.
may be blind, yet you still are visionary.
Of
And
course.
that, I am acknowledging Stevie Wonder
So wonder.
in
Okay.
those golden words.
Mm-hmm.
So ladies and gentlemen out there, you see the waves being created by a certain blind legislator, senator in Kenya. There are so many of us all over the world. In journalism, I am making my own mark, and I'm not allowing this to define me, but because my best days are still ahead. And yeah, you do not even need to or say I should be involved in this or that before I launch my advocacy into better deals for people who deal with debilitating adversities and vicissitudes of life. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Quick question for you. By any chance, are you talking about the young lady Crystal from Kenya?
She's one of them. Could be.
Okay. So it's not just one person.
No, there are several. But these people have dedicated themselves to spotlighting the issues of disability and how people tend to mock instead of getting involved in giving good deals. Of course, look at the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Services in Nigeria. They should carry along people with disabilities in things they do, making sure that advocacies are on the upswing concerning access to public buildings. I have been in situations as Federal Secretariat in Abuja, and somebody was wondering, just because my eyes are not closed and no funny thing coming from there, he was doubting whether I was I had legal blindness or not. And for me, that was an affront in itself, because you do not even know how, when you doubt that, how I process it within my inner fibers. And I've also seen people who claim to have come to visit me in Nigeria, encouraging me, oh, you can drive, God can do this and do that. You are mocking God when you say that, things that I'm going through that I know is very serious disability. You are telling me, oh, one miracle can fix it. Yes, miracles do happen. But certain things are beyond the drama and theatrics that people stage, which they claim. Yeah, this is not just a headache. It's not all those things, because people make all these claims. They come to people with chronic, what's it called, situations. Like a cripple, lame, deaf, dumb. You will hear, for example, our elder cousin, the Festus Fabilola will tell you, Deji, church is business. Because all these people, they tell you they can do this, they can do that. Please.
You know,
it does not sound funny when they come to people that have real issues like us. It doesn't sound funny at all, because we know those claims are nothing other than hollow, so empty. Yes.
You know, in societies like Nigeria, right? I just sometimes wonder, you know, I wonder to what extent that we weaponize
they weaponize and take undue advantage. They weaponize and take undue advantage of the people's susceptibility to the gullibility of the people. You come into me, I don't even need your sympathies most times. I have my own action plan. You want to, you want to assist in getting that back. You are welcome, but don't come to me.
Would you say that that there's just way too many people that will weaponize victimhood against people that are vulnerable to seeing themselves as victims?
Oh yes, too many. And by the way, when Minister Kennedy Uju picked on that young woman that was trying to spotlight her mother's mental incapabilities the other day, I didn't find that funny, because that lady in the house, I'm talking as a person with disability now, that lady in the house or around our community would have been dealing with so much. Now she comes out, making this known to the entire world that the mother will really need help. She will really need assistance. The minister was almost savaging her. I didn't find that funny, because where was this minister all the years that woman the old woman had coped with mental health issues. Well, and you know that this is only seconds from going full blown. There are people with all kinds of various degrees of mental health issues all over the world. Whether you're talking of depression, maniac, or otherwise, mental disability is mental disability. Whether you're talking of legal blindness or total eclipse, total blindness, blindness is blindness. You don't minimize the seriousness of what people go through, and then you don't come telling them that it is wrong to seek help. Sometimes I wonder how many people go to churches these days anyway, and where do churches remember that there are vulnerable people, people with disability in the congregation? They don't remember them. I don't ever remember anybody coming to me in any church to check on me to know whether I'm doing well or not. The last time that happened was when I attended the Covenant Harvest Church in Pittsburgh, Kansas. Those people were fantastic, but somewhere along the line too, some people orchestrated some things, and I'm like, oh, all right, all this stuff, these advertorials about, oh, you come, you find rest. This, I mean, the church is where you get it, is the mosque, is some shrine somewhere. It's all razzmatazz. People go through stuff.
I'm asking a lot of questions.
Very fine. Very fine. Yeah.
What is the difference? Now I'm asking you as an English expert. What is the difference between sympathy and empathy?
A whole wall of difference, but people mistake one for the other. Sympathy is not what you really want to get, because people just think, oh, I throw this at him, let me feel sorry for such individual. It may not really be what that person is. But you know, empathy is like imagining yourself to be in that shoe. How would I cope? Would I have been able to deal with this? For example, people do not know that those of us who have attained adulthood before going blind find it in several ways complicated having to learn to cope with being blind. People who got blind, whether being born with it or very early in life, say like Ray Charles, who became blind at the age of 7, the famous American soul musician, you would understand that they were able to, or they are sometimes over times able to use Braille. But when I went to the school for the blind, Alpha Point Association for the Blind in Prospect, Missouri, Kansas, it became impossible for me to learn the use of Braille. Why? Yeah, because my fingertips had calloused years assisting my parents on the farm in Nigeria. Since that I did not envisage ever going blind. I was a very fast and good reader and good learner. But when this started coming in, no, it affected everything. It turned my life upside down. And now I thank God that life is upstanding again. But you find loved ones, people who are giving you books and quotations from the Bible, nothing coming between you ever, nothing ever, no valley, no upline, whatever coming between you. That blindness came between all of us, and they drifted away. And unless, very few of you that are close to me ever called to find out how I'm coping, how I get by each day, and what kind of work I would be able to do. I mean, this is so empathy is better than sympathy, so to say. But again, let us always, it's good to sympathize, but it's not where you want to dwell, because that feeling of self-pity comes with that. Empathy, when somebody is taking proactive measure to make sure that, oh, I could have been in this situation, I can identify with this, I can relate with this, I can do something about this, and I can give empowerment to this person to stand on his own. That is the place of empathy. That is what you don't find in people who try to mock.
So many people are able to have pity but they can't really offer any kind of value.
No, yes,
Okay.
I agree with you completely. This is the summary of what I've said.
Right.
And you are more succinct, more concise in capturing what we're talking about.
Yeah, I was just trying to make sure because that's the way I've always thought about it. Empathy does not necessarily I'm able to pity you, but I can bring some kind of value to make your life better. It
Yeah,
might also include that, but stretching that all the way through actually doing something and
if
offering
that's it.
value is where empathy is going to be needed. Sympathy might not be enough. You might just be like, oh my show, but you can't really help. But
Mhm.
empathy will stretch
And
it.
you can always do something. And you know why people who have to deal with disability most times why they um, are susceptible to issues of paranoia, schizophrenia, and outright uh, suicidal thoughts and suicide actions
Right.
is because they don't find as much empathy as they ought to.
Okay.
And that is not where anybody want to be. But these days, I learn not to even mock people
Mm.
who commit suicide because you don't know
You have no
how
idea.
much. Yes, they were calling for that help
Mm-hmm.
through signs and what have you. Can you imagine pastors preaching these days because they are so selfish? Many of them, not all. They tell you, oh, he's always complaining. They preach it from the pulpit. Oh, when you find people complaining, run away from them because they want to draw you into some kind of cesspool. What around nonsense? You
Hmm.
will listen to that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Try. If you can't provide solution, just offer some words of comfort. That is true empathy right there.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. I think we will have more and more conversations around that, hopefully, at some point, because there are certain things that I'm able to empathize. I recognize I'm able to empathize, but not sympathize, or not come off as I have enough sympathy, but I
Oh
can
yeah. For
empathize.
example, remember how you were asking me how I ended up, even with my condition, having
Mhm.
to pay somebody's school fees over and over.
Right. Right. Right.
Refusing to pay some. That was wrong sympathy, right? I was being sympathetic, and
Right. You were
I
being
ended up
sympathetic.
committing. Yeah, I ended up committing resources meant for the upkeep of my family.
Your family.
Forgetting that
Yeah.
nobody would do that for me in most situations.
Hmm.
I've been around people who will tell you tales of doing millions and what have you, and they know, um, they know what I needed at that point in time, but they're always reeling out figures about the millions that have been committed, and it's all nonsense, trash.
So,
You
so,
know,
so, so
people,
you spent money and you spent resources out of sympathy, but it
yes,
ended up not being
that
valuable.
was that was foolish and stupid on my part. Even look at this guy I drew close, the one I told you that used to come around me. All
Hmm.
he was calling me where behind me was, oh, Abirun. And
Hmm.
yes, even when I hired somebody who had begged for job,
Hmm.
when I hired that person to work um, in my personal estate and my office in Nigeria,
Hmm.
this guy went to town to say that, oh, I probably was having some amoral or whatever affair with the woman. I
Hmm.
ended up having to ease that lady from our from our services
Hmm.
because I couldn't stand that kind of scandal, and I didn't want anybody coming behind me to kill me for things I did not do. These are the
Hmm.
things you get. These are the things, the blowback that could come from just extending sympathy instead of empathy.
Yeah.
Yes, you need a job. What can I do to assist? I do
Yes.
my, I mean, the little I can in the circumstance. But
Yes.
would I make, I mean, those mistakes anymore? Certainly not, because
Yeah.
real experience in life has been
Mhm.
my learning curve.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
They
All
say
right.
the Bible says you must do this. What do you call it? They say this is the precept. I ask, how about the process? It's
Mm.
precept. Nobody has lived it. Nobody has worked it yet to
Yeah.
say this is what it will translate to in real life. But the process is what has been my experience. This is experiential. I would avoid making the same mistakes all over. But please let there be empathy and
Hmm.
let there be love instead of trashing people who are not strong. Because you think you are strong, you do not show empathy. It really means that you have very little worth about
Right.
life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you can't at least find some kind of angle to relate, you're probably going to waste resource if you're stuck at sympathy.
That's
Um,
right.
yeah, and that's not to say sympathy is bad.
No, 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 no.
But that's just to let you know that there are limitations to actual good you can do with just sympathy.
That's
Uh,
right.
thank you for allowing me to grill you a little bit.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you very much. For the longest time, that guy was going around town calling me Abiun, Abiun, that is um, invalid or something like that. I'm like,
yeah.
between you and I, who is the Abiun here? You can't even help yourself. And
ṣe mọ̀ pé
anyway,
abẹ́gi lójú igi máa rúwé regardless. So
thank God. Thank
yeah,
God.
yeah, tí wọ́n lójú. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, follow. Let us ping everybody else into the room. We have some other topics we want to cover from trendy topics around the world. And yes, hit the like button. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Hello and welcome. We start with Nigeria. Amid a worsening economic crisis, the West African nation has turned to China for support. Nigerian President Bola Tinubu will meet his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping during a visit to Beijing next week. The two leaders will be discussing cooperation on the economy, agriculture, and technology. Tinubu's agenda includes site visits to two major Chinese companies, Huawei Technologies and the China Rail and Construction Corporation. Tinubu will also meet with 10 CEOs of major Chinese companies across sectors, from oil and gas to information and communications and financial services. Tinubu, who is the chairperson of the regional bloc ECOWAS, will also be attending the China-Africa Cooperation Summit in Beijing, along with other African leaders. Now, the visit comes at a time when Nigeria is seeking investments to boost its economy, which is battling double-digit inflation, foreign currency shortages, and issues such as crude oil theft.
All right. So, what are your initial thoughts?
Yes.
Around this? Yeah.
Yes, Ola, thank you very much. I think the devil are in the details that have not been expressed to the entire world to know. Mm-hmm. You think they're going to, I mean, this Sino-Nigerian trip, relationship, relations, do you think it's coming at this time that Nigeria has issues around the seizure of its presidential fleet, 3 of its planes in France by a Chinese company. So, of course, I can safely conclude that may be, a major reason, or it could be the principal reason for going to China to seek the intervention of the Communist Party bureaucracy there to make sure that these assets are released. Remember, this is a fallout of a situation, a trade dispute between, or business dispute between a private Chinese company and the government of Ogun State, one of Nigeria's federated states. And in this instance, we do not know if this is on the table, but I suspect it could be part of the card that will be negotiated, part of the card that will be negotiated while President Bola Tinubu is in China. The other factor that makes it so doubtful as to the transparency of Nigeria's leadership, particularly President Tinubu, in how he makes easy trips all the time overseas. Remember, we were told things when he visited places like Dubai that ended up being phony and completely insincere. When he went to Saudi Arabia, we were told things that would come from there that never really materialized. Now he's gone to China. They are listing companies again. Of course, what happens in China will stay in China because China is not a transparent society.
Of course.
And when eagle-eyed journalists or international investigators, when they begin to close in and begin to give a close-up and magnify the undisclosed mission to China here, you would see Nigerian officials having to lambast, having to issue denunciatory copies and barraging editorial rooms all over the world with anger and tantrums and all kinds of blowback. So the question to ask is, why is the government of Nigeria not putting everything on the table right now to have this direct conversation with Nigerian citizens to let us know the real agenda behind these trips? Because who goes to China? Who goes to China, a country that would enter into bilateral business relations all over the world, and then they come after critical assets of the nation and do not even mind if the sovereignty of that country is compromised. Nigeria's fundamentals concerning international loan negotiations are not that strong at this time. And having exhausted and burnt all the bridges with Western countries, where they turn to now is where they think the help will come from will be towards Eastern Bloc nations like China, North Korea, and Russia. Who is Nigeria trying to spite? What is the statement what is the statement we are trying to make here? They are talking of him being the leader of a West African regional bloc and all that. In which way has that transferred real proactive economic well-being to the citizens of the sub-region, particularly Nigerians? So let us put all the cards on the table. Ola, I'll tell you, there is a confusion, there is so much opaqueness about the purpose or purposes behind this recent trip to China by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
I agree with you. Because it's just such a complicated thing. I'm looking at a report here. It says Nigerian debt obligations to China surged to $5.16 billion in 2023. So there's a lot more that we can definitely discuss around that. And I like how you linked it.
For example, I would have loved that. What would top the list of priorities for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as he tours China will be the worrisome manner in which Chinese companies and employers in Nigeria, how they treat Nigerian citizens. Everybody comes into Nigeria and they put Nigerian citizens on the border of the ladder as if they are beggars in their country. Every Nigerian employee in all these foreign-owned or controlled interests, whether owned by India, Lebanese, Chinese, Americans, what have you, they are expected to defer to their foreign employers as boss. Yes, they pay the salaries, they pay the wages, but for God's sake, the dignity of the human person cannot but be emphasized, cannot but be considered in the context of everything that transpires between Nigeria, because it's their land of birth. Nigerians are not even asking for any entitlement. All they are saying is that respect our persons. Bola Tinubu is not putting that as a front burner. You know how many Nigerians lose their limbs, their legs, their mind, working for all these foreign interests in their own land of birth? That is not, I remember that in times past, whether under Obasanjo, Jonathan, Umaru Musa Yaradua, when Odoma Adueke and I used to debate a lot, and he would, the then Foreign Affairs Minister of Nigeria, and at the time the Secretary of the ruling party in Nigeria, PDP then, not this APC that is in charge now. I remember how he used to talk of, and you were even seated with us one night when he told me that the focus should be citizen diplomacy. Citizen diplomacy. That is in everything we do, whether internationally, back home, wherever. When it comes to engagement constructively with foreign interests, the interest of the Nigerian citizen must be paramount, must be foremost, number one on the agenda.
Chief, but what do you say when you're owing? I mean, under Tinubu alone, I think it has increased by $440 million from $4 to $5 billion, right? Well, like, they don't want let number. I don't know how to say that in English.
Well, yes, what it means, it's I mean, the word of sages of old. A debtor is always a beggar.
There you go. Yeah.
Is always a beggar. A debtor, you go into credit, you will be in sorrow.
Yeah.
Especially if it is not for if it's not the productive kind of debt, because everybody taps into the low-hanging fruits everywhere, which is available
as they should.
To build their businesses and whatever.
I don't know how to say that in English either.
That's right. So you see a fool's footstep, or what's it called? Footprint. You are not hitting on it. So would the wise man leave his own for you to mess with? No, he's going to clean his heart. What we say that's right. Here, the situation between Nigeria and all these foreign, what's it called? Foreign countries, they are creditors. Is the fact, yes, it is the fact that what do we use the money we borrow? This money they lend us, what do we use them for? It's just like in personal economics. You want to have funeral of your in-law, you go borrow millions. How are you going to pay back? That funeral going to generate? You think people will come and come to your party? God save you.
On this life, sir, you were mistakenly saying loan instead of grant, and on something private.
Oh yes.
And I was telling you loan.
Yeah, I will go for grant any day. I will go for grant any day. Loan.
And you were like, oh yeah, I meant grant.
Loan. If I'm going to take loan, it has to be for some high net worth, some highly worthy, productive, and high yielding business initiatives, not for anything that I'm not sure of. I always develop this. Yes, I always come up with business ideas and plans. The ones I know would give me that yield, 100-fold, multiple-fold. I can borrow to get that going. But the ones that I know that this is service-oriented may not really be that bumpy in the returns they give. No, I would hesitate a bit. So this is where Nigeria is. For example, they mentioned trillions and what have you. What I'm always of the opinion that leaders, past and present, who negotiated these deals, who took possession of these monies that we're talking of, should be brought back to give account of what they use it for. Instead of saying, oh, the average Nigerian from birth is owing this much in terms of, yes, they know how to apportion the quantum of debt owed by each of us, even before we are born. But I'm saying, who were the people who went into all these deals? Call them back. Once they cannot show to us what that money was used to finance in the country, nothing tangible, nothing physical, let them go in for it. Because what Nigerians simply do is to take loans, they sit at table, butcher it, share amongst themselves, and then they say, see you later when it is another looting conference.
Yeah.
It's a circle that is so disturbing and maddening.
Yeah. At this point, I'm convinced that some politicians are just sitting somewhere and they don't care about death. They don't care about. They just like let's just
No, see,
make another loan and
yeah, Ola,
just get
and
by.
to our viewers all over the world,
Mm-hmm.
this is the second. This is the new stage of the rape of Africa. China, for all the photo trick, the photo op of Chinese leaders arresting people who are involved in corruption and fraud, and they only do that when people fall out with the ruling party there. But when it comes to looking, the script is not different. When it comes to imperialism, you stay where you belong. I mean, you stay in your dingy edifice somewhere.
It's the same issue. We're repeating the same thing. We're repeating. Unfortunately, it just looks too much like we're repeating the same mistakes.
Yes, it's China. The new look of the new look of the new imperialism in the world is China.
Yeah.
Sometimes Russia. And Africans love to deceive themselves. Say, oh, Russia has never done this on the continent. They have done so much on the continent. And China now, what it does is the country encourages all kinds of authoritarian, despotic leaders all over Africa.
Yeah.
And then we go there, go kiss the imperial ring. Oh, this is how much we can steal for you that we can share from our continent. So
I mean, if you're traveling over to come and beg us, to beg our business owners, our business magnates to see how they can help, what are we discussing? We're discussing how we can take more advantage of you. That's all.
Of your system. That is it. Your people, your system, you. And they don't think highly of African leaders, really.
Yeah.
And you know, Chinese people are very cunning. Yeah. So, and they won't lose one dime, and they will take everything from you.
It's like, what do you have? We have 200 million. We have 50 million youth. Okay, we're gonna go and plant this. This is what we want.
That's right.
Right. Okay, this is what we're gonna give you. Oh, you know what? We're gonna take 10% of share among our family. Okay. In addition to that, we'll give you some share in this company over here.
That's right.
They will call it.
That's the they are funny. They are funny version of equity stake.
Yeah. And they probably, hopefully not, but they probably will get all these things signed, but we have politicians that don't know what they're signing up for. And then
most times when they sign this, yes, you see all the controversies that is always trailing everything they sign, and they don't involve the people that ought to be involved. And then when they even involve people, they involve the nincompoops and all. I mean, the weaklings within the system, because those that can argue with them and let them see the foolery of what they are doing will never ever be brought on board. It's like that within the African system. Whether you are talking of the traditional village royal council or you're talking of the sophisticated state-run corporations and ministries and parastatals all over the country. That is what you get.
Yeah. Negotiations, just, obviously they have all these debts and they have, like I was saying, but that it doesn't have to be that way. They just have to have very smart people that can negotiate well, that can identify the values that Nigeria and Africa represents for those people. If we don't have people that can properly identify and articulate those things, they will continue to fall for this, potentially for the next century.
Yeah, and Nigerian leaders groan. They complain about how Gary, cassava flakes, and what do you call this other thing? Vegetable oil and things that used to be even the hand-woven traditional material, ashoke, and dye and tie, the Kampala, Adire, and all those things. How they now come from China.
Yeah.
Well, yes, these are the ways they go there.
Already made natives on the internet.
That's right. All those things these technologies, these our core African technologies are poached from the continent. It is a virtual giveaway to all these people. So
Wow.
I hope the proper team is assisting Bola Ahmed Tinubu in this trip.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, like I said, we don't know what it's about what they have told us, but in the past, there has always been a disconnect. There has always been disconnect between what Tinubu administration says they are abroad for, they are overseas for, and what we get. All the billions they said will come from Saudi Arabia. We're still waiting. We're still waiting for the Euro deals. Everything, the ones they said Dubai has done. Dubai came back to embarrass Nigeria, saying nothing like that ever happened.
Wow.
So these ones they have said they are doing in China. China would always collaborate with them because China does not speak the truth. And we will continue to put this out there, whether their foreign killers are out to come after us or not. We don't care. But, really, is the strength of who we are. You cannot silence every Nigerian at the same time. We will always speak up. It's our country. It's our land of birth. And for anybody to just think that wishy-washy deals will be packaged somewhere and be foisted on us, Sabada, it won't happen easily like that.
All right, everybody, hit the like button, share, subscribe, and follow. Help us share. And please feel free to join the conversation in the comment section. We appreciate you. We have some other stories. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Let's talk about this story. I'm going to read a short report from Politico, and then maybe you can bring us up to speed what's going on with the polls. Apparently, it is revealing some interesting things. According to Politico, it says where the race between Trump and Harris stands on Labor Day. That's today. According to a polling expert, a race that Kamala Harris leads nationally is the equivalent of a knife fight in a phone booth and is set to be decided in a smaller than usual number of states. Labor Day in a critical mile marker on the road to the general election, and Kamala Harris has reached it with a slim advantage over Donald Trump, but the former president will still be well within striking distance if the election were held today. Because of Republicans' advantage in the Electoral College, a race that Harris leads nationally by between 2 or 4% points on average is the equivalent of a knife fight in a phone booth, and it's set to be decided in a smaller than usual number of states. The polls are extraordinarily tight in all of them, and that isn't expected to change much over the next 9 weeks. In modern presidential elections, where the race stands on Labor Day, it's usually pretty close to where it ends up once the votes are counted. Of the 7 votes that both campaigns have identified as the core Electoral College battlegrounds, Harris leads Trump in 3 of them: the Blue Wall states of Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, according to multiple polling averages. But those leads are small. In only one state, Wisconsin, does an average show a greater than 3-point margin for the president. Does an average show a greater than 3-point margin for the vice president?
Vice president.
Yes. In 3 others, Arizona, Georgia, and Nevada, the polls are so close that different polling averages have different leaders as of Sunday night. Only in the remaining swing state, North Carolina, which Trump won in both 2016 and 2020, does the former president lead in all 3 polling averages. 538, Real Clear Politics and Silver Bulletin, the new data journalism site, from 538 founder Nate Silver. But that lead is only around 1 point. The 3 states where Harris has a modest lead would be sufficient to win the presidency If she also wins the traditionally blue states and earns the electoral vote from Nebraska's 2nd congressional district, where a split ticket survey USA poll released on Saturday gave her a 5-point lead over Trump. In short, Harris is narrowly ahead in the Rust Belt, which would be enough to win, but Trump is breathing down her neck. And those are also the states where the polling has been least accurate and specifically underestimated Trump in the past 2 elections. Former Secretary of the State Hillary Clinton led Trump in all 3 states in 2016, only to lose them. And now President Joe Biden's prospects looked like a slam dunk going into 2020 election, but he barely escaped with victories in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. Meanwhile, the candidates are essentially tied in the Sun Belt, where Trump is narrowly leading in the only state he won in the past that's now up for grabs. That's a big change from earlier in the summer when Trump held consistent leads in the Sun Belt states over Biden when he was the presumptive nominee. Feel free to stop me when you're ready.
Yeah, and really, let's get it going at this point.
Okay.
The truth of the matter is that I like the polls the way they are coming. Remember, I said Kamala Harris should continue as the underdog in this whole encounter. For example, today, you see, I want to believe that some of the things the media, the corporate media is doing, I don't want to talk of the drive-by media. I mean, and I see your SharpEdge News as part of the mainstream media, on this subject. Part of what they are doing deliberately is to make sure that they underplay that instinct to win some and get overly excited so much so that we all become lethargic again. Something that was witnessed 2016, 2017 in that encounter between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. That is what nobody wants at this point. So deliberately, that mayor is reporting this in mayor tone with cautionary note, I think is on purpose on part of the media to continue to clothe the emperor, that is Donald Trump, in this with this false facade, false narrative that the delusional narrative that he is still relevant. Honestly, reality shows that right now this guy is engulfed. He is really dazed. He does not really know what formula to use to be able to, all the cards is put on the table, trying to demean, trying to bring on board racist card and what have you. Everything is really bouncing back on his face. He has some support, considerable, no doubt, but is it significant enough to flip the card or to flip victory to his side? I doubt. I doubt. Today, note the number of places, the stumps that Kamala is having: Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, on and on. Tonight, just as you and I are talking, she may have finished a session with President Joe Biden in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania, after going to some forum earlier in the day with what's it called? Auto Workers Union and all over the place. As you and I are talking, the feeble and senseless thing that Donald Trump is doing is to hold in Mar-a-Lago, not knowing nothing on the card, nothing on the schedule. And this is somebody they are giving all this. Now, this North Carolina that they are saying, he is having like a 1-point lead or edge. Are you listening? In North Carolina,
I can hear you. You can hear me, right?
I really know that is what gives me a clue that the whole thing is being underplayed deliberately.
Right.
Do you know what the Democratic candidate for governor, the kind of bump that guy is having a significant, considerable, if not phenomenal, 20-point lead in that race. And you think some of that will not come to Kamala? And some other races there. This year is the year, honestly, if it does not happen, that major toss-up would occur. Something you can compare with the political equivalent of seismic, an earthquake, earth-shaking event that will shift the tectonic plate of the direction of this country. Honestly, then give me something else. If I, like the Yorubas will say, no, don't let us go there because of people who will want to hang it on us that we are cruel towards animal. I would have said to back Paja for me, Lord, I mean to back Paja for me, but I do, yes. But what I'm saying is that honestly, this is a race that I see Donald Trump losing. Are you going to talk of his desecration of the Aloe Grants, of military cemetery at Arlington? Are you going to talk of the book that just came from Fred Trump Jr., the son of his late elder brother, whom he used to denigrate? From what we now know, the new narrative that is out there, Donald Trump did not even do well like his elder brother that gave him that yielded the place for corporate prominence. That man that gave him the opportunity to be able to come to prominence as the apparent heir to the fortunes of the patriarch of the family. Since we are now hearing that this guy lacks empathy, doesn't show kindness towards a disabled member of the larger Trump family, which is a clue as to how he denigrates everybody that he thinks does not measure up to his own clone standard of humanity, and so on and so forth. So all these things are going to interplay. This, I don't, like Delegiwa will put it, this will go beyond shockability, quote and unquote. You know?
Okay. Well,
yes.
9
this
weeks.
Is going to shock so many of us.
9 more weeks to go. Is that what they're saying?
That's what I'm saying. And so much of all this will be shipping away. And this guy is so recalcitrant, it does not change. He's not teachable. He's such a difficult individual to manage, like I told you the other day. For example, you are cutting his finger, yet he's slipping in that ring. He is so stubborn, almost to the point of obstinacy. Look, check it out. Everybody is complaining about his desecration and disrespect for the sleeping heroes of this country at Arlington Cemetery. What does it do? Goes on social media and everywhere, showing the video and pictures of, the pictures that he took while there.
Right.
Insurrection, we're still talking of insurrection at, what do you call it? The Capitol. This time around, you are finding him staging that kind of insurrection in the graveyard. How does somebody invade the peace of a national cemetery like that, dedicated to generations of heroes of this country, and you are correcting him? What did they do? They got the family of the family that invited him there. They got that family to record a video today to say, "Oh, how come Kamala Harris did not call them, did not visit with them, that Donald Trump showed up?" You see, the way he weaponizes every opportunity, every gold standard of this country, and the ex-service people, they are watching. The veterans are speaking up. I do not think they will want to give him a easy pass this time around. So even within the core Trump family, the Trump large extended family, it does not enjoy much support. It doesn't enjoy significant support there. People see through its narcissistic instincts. And that is what this nation has to deal with at this moment. All of us, I've identified one reason why I cannot vote for him. I can't stand the way he denigrates us, those of us with disabilities. No, I won't give him my vote for such a. Yes, I'm an independent. I'm no longer even searching. My mind is made up on where I want to vote, and that is where I will vote. Yes, because in my native African culture, it said, "Alagbara mamiru baba ole." If you say you are mighty, yet you are thoughtless, yes, you are chief amongst the villains. You are chief amongst people who really do not have gumption, and that is where he belongs. I can't reward him for his poor discretionary judgment. I cannot.
Anyway, so for now, let's just keep looking, right?
Right.
You're still feeling solid with regards to where this is going to end. Okay.
I'm giving it to Kamala Harris.
All right. Good.
And
All right.
Tim
Thank
Walz.
you. All right, everybody. Let us know. Join the conversation in the comment area. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, and follow. And let's continue some of the stories for today. We'll be right back. Welcome back. So Nigeria cracks down protesters charged with treason and military incitement. As a matter of fact, there's a short video that I think we should play here. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Let's see. I think you would like it. It'll give you some insights. Let's go there. Hold on 1 second. All right. It's the Very Dark Man. It's one of your faves. Very Dark Man. He has something to say about this. So let's listen.
So some of the end bad governance protesters were charged with treason. And the penalty for treason is spy. They will buy you by shooting imprisonment. You understand? All this now because they fly Russian flag, all those things during the protest. But who are we to blame? It is still the government that will blame now. There's the percentage of illiteracy in the north is over 90%. You understand? And who are we to blame? It's still the government, because it's almost as if they deliberately don't want to give those people education so that they can weaponize it. Yes, now, a lot of northern states, they know they go school so that they can weaponize it anytime that they lie. They can use it during election. They can use it to cause any problem they want to cause. That is why most of them, they don't let most of these northerners go to schools. Now the thing don't cast now. They don't rub them for our face. You understand? When I don't go carry them saying that treason. Who are we to blame? You people are the genesis of the problem. You are the genesis of the problem. I can beat my chest to tell you that those people that were charged for treason, if you carry them now, and you tell them that what is the color of Nigerian flag, most of them will not know the color of Nigerian flag. I can beat my chest that 80% of them don't know the Nigerian flag is green, white, green. You understand? They don't know. And who knows, maybe they think that they've changed the color of Nigerian flag to Russian flag just the way they changed the national anthem. Yes, now, it is possible. You temper justice with mercy. That sentence is very harsh. While I also...
Okay, first of all, it's not a sentence yet. I think it's a charge. But I'm looking at a report on Reuters. Nigeria on Monday charged 10 people with treason and conspiring to incite the military to mutiny following last month's nationwide demonstration that saw thousands take to the streets to protest against the cost of living crisis. The protests were met with a deadly crackdown by security forces, and Amnesty International said at least 13 people were killed. Security forces denied using lethal force. The 10 men were arraigned in the Abuja Federal High Court and entered a non-guilty plea. They face the death penalty if convicted, human rights lawyer Ini Behe Effiong said. What are your thoughts around this? Let me collect your thoughts around this. We'll call it a day.
Thank you very much. This is really sobering. It calls for sobriety on the part of all of us that in this time and age, this is where we find ourselves in Nigeria. I don't even know why anybody will be so, yeah, will be, how do I put this? Why should anybody be fixated on the idea of giving death penalty? Concerning what? Now, in America here, because they love to, they hate to hear anything in America now. And I do not know if I'm going to draw that conclusion that they hate America. I don't want to think that way. But really, when you see leaders who look towards the east, turning away from the west, you don't come to America as you ought to, and then you go towards China, or you begin to play up Russia and what have you. So where was this government when Tinubu took actions against the Nigerian coup plotters? And then the next thing was that the government in Niger turned towards the government of Russia for backup. And then did you notice the sentiments being expressed by northern elites, the solidarity they gave to Russia, that maybe Russia should also come to Nigeria? Expressly and explicitly, they said, they themselves took this discussion on probably America should establish a military base in Nigeria. Something that is not even of interest to America itself. They started that debate, and then they started calling for, they preferred Russia to come to the north. That is one consideration that everybody should ponder over. How we got to where we are now. Number two, before you say you are going to hang such a charge on people and probably make your case beyond all reasonable doubt in civilized climes, the jurisprudence would demand of you that this person you are charging, is it, underline the phrase, knowingly, the word knowingly, has he knowingly committed this crime? Is it knowingly in breach of this alleged or this allegation? So how many people did Nigeria educate? Because I was way out of the university before I left Nigeria, and I practiced as a professional journalist all over Nigeria. Nobody ever educated us as to whether it was right or wrong to don or to display the flags of any other country in Nigeria. Are you listening to me, Ola?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah,
I've never heard it too. I was educated.
Even as I'm talking to you now, in America here, you go to certain offices, you find people simultaneously displaying the flag of Nigeria alongside that of America.
Of course.
Of course. When we display our masthead, SharpEdgeNews television, you see the flag of Nigeria showing side by side out of America. So should America come and arrest us now that that we have wrongfully displayed Nigerian flag? You see, the idea that Nigeria does not know the blowback that can come from all these funny things they toy with. Just because you want to be a maximum ruler, you want to be totalitarian in your control of your country.
It makes no sense that Nigeria is still dealing with this type of things.
You go completely berserk and autocratic without caution. They started with this idea of, they display Russian flag and they are going to be treated with treason and all that. This is showing you that if these people were able to catch some of the people whose names appear on their watch list, what they are going to do to them. And Tinubu was one of the people who condemned the judicial execution of Mr. Ken Saro-Wiwa under Sani Abacha. He is fast moving. He's moving the ship of Nigeria State.
Is this one of those places where they will say, "Oh, let the DSS do their job. I am not part of what they're doing over there"? Is this where they normally will say?
They would try to underplay their involvement. They are the ones. They are the puppeteers. They pull the string concerning what they want to do. Yet they will say, "Oh, it is the system. Let the law take its course." There is no law taking its course. It's just about people in government, strong characters, trying to be vengeful and assertive. They don't want, for you and I and every Nigerian overseas now, it becomes particularly dangerous to want to even toy with the idea of going to that country at this time. The signs are so ominous. It's almost like Prophet Agabus in the Bible coming out to say, "Oh, who won't say this? What's it called? This gado, something belonging to Apostle Paul. Oh, so shall you be tied and then delivered to authorities in Rome and face death." So there is nothing clairvoyant. There is nothing like soothsaying about this. It is so prophetically clear. Wisdom and knowledge is saying that these people, they are hell-bent. You know the amount of avoidable debt that APC administration has rigged on Nigerians since coming on power. The killing at Lekki Toll Gate, which they continue to deny, and then this one deliberately on purpose charging Nigerian citizens with treason, and then the penalty will be death. Something that is coming from the military heritage of the past. Oh, hand them an execution just because it was done against the team of Dimka, Gumwalk, Bisala, 1976, when they assassinated General Murtala Ramat Mohammed. This is what I'm talking about when I speak of empathy. You don't create life, yet it's so easy for you to want to take it. Just because you must send clear signals that you broach no opposition, no criticism whatsoever. We are in charge, and we won't ever transfer. We wouldn't ever transfer power peacefully. We would never listen to what the people want. We can write roughshod on them. We must make a scapegoat. We must scapegoat people. This is what they are doing. What calls for death penalty against people you have never educated about whether it is right or wrong to fly or float foreign flags? So now, if I come to Nigeria and like we used to, of course, in Nigeria we wore T-shirts with American stripes, with British stripes. So if we do that now in present-day Nigeria, we will be guilty of treason because we done designs. So where is the place of free speech in this? Free expression, other constitutional protections guaranteed to Nigerians. So nobody talks of end bad governance protest anymore. It is about treason now. It is about flying Russia flag.
In less than a few short weeks.
I'm telling you, this is bizarre. This is bizarre. It is weird. Very, 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 very uncivilized. This is where they are taking Nigerians. And look at the way they are poaching people. They will invade business premises in Abuja, Labour House. They say, "Oh, the terrorism financing and what have you." But they can arrest Mr. Hunger. They cannot arrest the president, who himself said is removing subsidy and then the economy total. That in itself is foremost economic sabotage right there. Only God knows what they are doing secretly now, the secret plots. How they are weaponizing DSS, how they are weaponizing NIA, who to go after internationally and within the country. people who are acting brazenly in breach of their oath of office, the oath they took. And you see how democracy continues to be on the decline in Nigeria. So, my brother, welcome to the normalization of abnormality in Tinubu's Nigeria, in APC's Nigeria. PDP did not do half of all this. PDP did not do half of all this. And like the late Odumegwu Ojukwu once told me in an interview, he said the 3-year Nigerian civil war was just an attempt by Jack, that is Gowon, hunt for Ojukwu's head. So in order to get one head, over 1 million Nigerians were sacrificed. In order to get to Shogore and all the other people that they alleged financed or planned this protest and what have you. You see how many people they want to kill, they want to execute? At the end of the day, these people will become their bargaining chip. They may not even execute them. They just want the whole world to come to them begging, to use that to derive some measure of legitimacy. Oh, do not execute them. Don't do that. This and that. And then they begin to mess up the system. So this cycle, this ignominious cycle of ineptitude and what have you continues. And Nigeria loves their oppressors differently, different ways. And you say something, they are coming up, even in your birthplace, in your own hometown, home village. They will say, shut up. He's talking from America, I'd like him to come down to the hometown. Of course, we won't come there. We will not come there because we can't be killed so cheaply. We can't be killed so cheaply. They want to do whatever with the country. Good luck to them. So long.
All right. We've done well today. Thank you, everybody. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications, follow. Let everybody know we're here talking about this kind of stuff. Also, we want you to join the conversations in the comments below. Thank you so much. Keep us posted. Hopefully, you've been enlightened, educated. We'll see you on the next one. Have a good evening.
Thank you.